The next step is to take this model, which I have now covered with plastic, and glue the tail on. To make sure that the tail fits exactly where it should be, we have to make some measurements. The first thing is I measured here and found the exact middle and put a piece of felt tip line there, and also here on the back of the tailplane. Just measured this with a ruler. And then I measured across the fuselage here, and the fuse is exactly 9 centimeters. So this is 4.5, and here I put in a pin. I'm later going to use this pin to measure back to the tailplane, so that it will sit there exactly in the right place. I begin by putting the tailplane into the slot where it's supposed to be, and arrange it so that the felt tip pen lines are equal or touch each other, and then I take a pin and I push it and put it in there so that this part will not move. It's obvious that the tail is not correct, so I just I move it a little bit, but the line does not move because the turning point is just there. Now here I've got a long ruler, and it's got centimeter scale on both sides. Very nice. I put it up on the pin and measure to the back corner of the tailplane, and here I get 89.3. When I measure on the other side, I get 90.1 centimeters. It's a little bit longer on this side, so I push it a little bit further forward, like this, and now I measure again, and I've got 89.6, and here I've got 89.7. so this is a little bit more. I just tweak it a little bit, see what happens. 89.5, that should be correct. And here I've got 89.5. Yeah. Now both corners are in the right place. Now I take a felt tip pen like this and make a line along the fuselage on the tailplane, because when I glue this down, there should be no plastic film underneath where the glue is supposed to be. Turn it gently around and make a line on the underside. It's good to put a line at the back also, because it doesn't reach all the way. Now I'm going to remove this, and what I have to do is to remove the film between the lines. To be sure that the tailplane will glue permanently, I'm going to use a steel ruler and then cut very gently along the line. You have to be very careful not to cut into the balsa, just through the film. So it's best to have a very sharp blade, and I'm not going to cut exactly along the line. I'm going to be 0.5 millimeter or so on the inside of it, so I won't see the wood when it is installed. I just glide the knife along, try to feel when it goes through the plastic. Like this. Now I should be able to lift the film if the knife has cut through. There we are. If the knife is very sharp and the blade is new, this is an easy operation. I have to do it on the other side as well. Just exactly the same. 0.5 to 1 millimeter inside the line. Don't necessarily go all the way to the back. Like this. Now I've got a gluing surface that will hold the tailplane to the fuselage. We have to do this to the tail fin as well. What I did was I just covered down to the line where it's supposed to sit. It has to go into the fuselage and glue there, and it goes also into this slot. Now I've put the tailplane on again, exactly in the same place it was. And now I can use the lines, which I have not cleaned off, to put the tailplane in the correct place. I also remember that this should be 98.5. I can measure it, and it is correct. I can also take this tail fin and slot it into place until it sits. It has to go through the tailplane. Now I can use this triangle, put it up to the fuselage, and sight along to see if this gap is the same. And it looks to me that this is exactly correct, and now I can glue it. I'm going to put some glue. To prevent glue from going everywhere, I've put some tape along the slot and along where the glue is placed on the tailplane. The only thing that is glued is a strip right beside the film. So it doesn't do anything to put glue everywhere. Just have to put a little bit of glue here and then slide it into the fuse. I'm just going to use wood glue. The danger is that you use too much glue, and when you're this far back on the fuselage, it will have effects on how the balance of the model will come out. I just put some glue just along where the plastic film is. And because I'm using a wood glue, I can just wipe it off with a damp rag. I also put the word up here so that I know which way it should turn. It won't be upside down. Now it slides into place. I got my markings here to help me, like this. Now it's sitting about right. The glue sometimes wants to obliterate the lines, but because I've got the tail fin here, I can use it to see to it that the tail plane is sitting in the right place. And look down, tweak it a little bit, and then I measure. Here it's 89.5, and also here. Now I can put the pin in place. I'll let the tail fin sit where it is and get some water in a piece of tissue and wipe the glue away. There's no reason to have the glue there because it does not do any work. It doesn't help at all. And if you let it dry, it'll just be fiddly work to get it off again. I've got water in a spray can and a spray bottle. That way. There was a little bit underneath. I have to look out. That way. Now the tail plane is sitting where it should be. Take one measurement. 89.5 it hasn't moved. So now this can just sit there until the glue has dried, and we can mark that step 43 is finished. There is in this something about putting the hinges in, but I'm going to do that later.